Diddy's oldest son, Christian Combs, who's also a rapper and goes by the name King Combs, is reportedly now talking to federal investigators. Yep, you heard that right. He is said to be working with the people who are trying to build a case against his own dad. This is not something you hear every day, and it's making huge waves in both the music world and legal world. According to news reports, Christian is giving information about what really happened at some of Diddy's private parties and events that took place from 2015 to 2022. These were those fancy celebrity parties in the Hamptons and in Miami, with yachts, private jets, and VIP guest lists. The government thinks these parties might be connected to some illegal things, and Christian might know a lot about them. They say Christian has first-hand information, which means he didn't just hear about these events. He was actually there. Investigators believe he can talk about who flew in and out on the private jets, who was on the guest lists, and how the money was handled behind the scenes. They even found messages from an encrypted app, basically a super private messaging app, that show Christian helping arrange flights for guests going to these exclusive parties. Now here's the big deal. In court, if a family member testifies against someone, that can be a very powerful piece of evidence. It's rare, and it usually makes a big impact on the jury because people tend to believe family members wouldn't lie about something this serious. One former government lawyer even said that this kind of testimony could be a game changer for the case. So far, Christian hasn't been charged with anything, and by helping the investigators now, he might be trying to protect himself from getting into legal trouble. Some people think he's trying to distance himself from the whole situation. Others think he might be under a lot of pressure. Either way, this has added major drama to the case. Diddy's legal team is not happy about this. They think the government is using Christian to hurt Diddy in court. One of Diddy's lawyers even said this is a new low in how celebrity court cases are handled, especially when it involves breaking up families. At the moment, Christian hasn't spoken publicly, and his team says they can't comment because the case is still active. But behind the scenes, it looks like he met with investigators more than once, and he might even testify in court soon. So what does all this mean? It means that this trial just got even more intense, and with a family member possibly taking the stand, it could go in a very unexpected direction. So here's the deal. Literally, Diddy was recently offered a plea deal by the government. If you're not sure what that means, a plea deal is when someone who's been charged with a crime agrees to plead guilty to something in exchange for a lighter punishment. Basically, it's like saying, I'll admit to this so I don't have to face something worse in court. But guess what? Diddy said no. That's right. He rejected the plea deal, even though it would have helped him avoid a much longer prison sentence. According to reports, if Diddy had taken the deal, he might have only served up to 12 years behind bars. That's still a long time, but nothing compared to what he's facing now. If he's found guilty on all charges, he could end up spending more than 20 years in prison. So why did he turn it down? Diddy and his legal team say he's completely innocent and that he's not going to admit to something he didn't do. They believe the whole case is unfair and that it's based on misunderstandings and false accusations. His lawyers say Diddy wants to fight these charges all the way through the trial and prove to the public and the jury that he didn't commit any crimes. In fact, during a court appearance, Diddy stood up in front of the judge and said, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," when asked if he was rejecting the plea deal. He made it clear that he's choosing to go to trial instead of making a deal just to avoid more jail time. This is a bold move, especially because the evidence against him is huge. Investigators say they have videos, messages, and tons of other proof. And with Christian Combs, his son, now possibly testifying, the pressure is even more intense. But Diddy says he's doing this not just for himself, but for his family, his reputation, and even for people who feel like they've been targeted unfairly by the justice system. Some of his supporters say he's trying to show that someone with power, money, and fame can still stand up and fight for what's right. Still, other people, even fans, are saying maybe Diddy should have taken the deal, because going to trial could end up much worse. Once the trial starts, he'll be facing a jury, and nobody can predict how that's going to go. So what happens now? Diddy is officially heading to court, and things are going to get intense. His decision to say no to the plea deal shows he's ready for a battle, but it's a risky move that could either clear his name or cost him big time. Right now, Diddy is facing some of the most serious legal charges you can imagine. The government says he was involved in something way beyond just wild parties or bad business deals. They believe that for years, Diddy used his money, power, and fame to do things that were not only wrong, but illegal. Here's what he's being accused of. Federal prosecutors have charged Diddy with things like racketeering and transporting people across state lines for illegal reasons. These charges aren't just small stuff, they're federal crimes, which means the trial is taking place in a big federal courtroom and the consequences could be life-changing. Investigators believe Diddy ran a secret network of private parties and events that were used for more than just entertainment. According to them, some of these parties were cover-ups for illegal activities, and they say he used things like private jets, yachts, and shell companies, fake businesses, to hide what was really going on. These events took place between 2015 and 2022 and were held in fancy places like the Hamptons in Miami. High-profile celebrities, influencers, and VIPs were reportedly flown in using charter flights that were booked under company names connected to Diddy's music label, Bad Boy Entertainment. They also claim Diddy used threats, manipulation, and money to keep people quiet and protect the secret behind these events. And with over 70 civil lawsuits reportedly filed against him in the past 30 years, some people are saying this case could finally bring out the truth behind those past accusations too. But here's what Diddy's team is saying. His lawyers say the whole thing is being twisted. They argue that all of these parties were just for promotional purposes, basically for business and networking. They say everyone involved were consenting adults and that nothing illegal was going on. As for the flights, his team claims those were just to bring VIP guests to music events and weren't anything shady. So now it's a classic case of he said, they said. But with a lot of evidence, millions of dollars on the line, and Diddy's entire reputation at risk. This case isn't just about one night or one party. It's about years of activity, huge names in the entertainment world, and a massive investigation that's been building for a long time. And now, all of it is coming out in court. So when someone goes to trial, they don't just walk into a courtroom and face a judge. They also have to face a jury, a group of regular people chosen to listen to all the facts and decide if the person is guilty or not guilty. Sounds simple, right? Well, not in this case. Diddy is one of the most famous music moguls in the world, and his name is all over the news right now. So here's the problem. Almost everyone has already heard about the case. They've seen the headlines, the rumors, the gossip blogs, and the social media posts. And that makes it really hard to find people who haven't already made up their minds. A lot of people are comparing Diddy's case to other huge scandals, like the ones involving Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Even though those are totally separate situations, people have started blending the stories together, which could make jurors unfairly believe Diddy is guilty before they even hear the facts. And get this, both the prosecutors, the people trying to prove Diddy did something wrong, and the defense lawyers, the ones trying to prove his innocence, say they think they can pick the jury in just 3 days. That's super fast for a trial this big, and some people are shocked they think it can happen that quickly. Diddy's lawyers are especially worried. They say a lot of people out there already believe there are videos or that celebrities were involved, even though none of that has been shown in court yet. They're scared that the jury might walk in with strong opinions before they even hear the real evidence. On top of that, prosecutors have claimed that Diddy has tried to influence or scare witnesses in the past, and that's why a judge refused to let him out on bail. The judge said these crimes are the kind that happen behind closed doors, which makes them even harder to prove or disprove. So here's the big question. Can Diddy really get a fair trial? His lawyers think it's going to be super tough. They say people already see him as guilty just because he's rich, powerful, and has had past controversies. And once a jury has even a little bit of bias, it can be hard to change their minds. But Diddy's team says they're going to fight hard. They believe that when the real facts come out, the truth will speak louder than rumors. So now, we wait to see if they can find 12 fair and open-minded people who are ready to listen and judge the case based only on the evidence, not the headlines. This is just one more reason why this trial could go down as one of the biggest celebrity court cases of all time. This trial is shaping up to be one of the biggest and most dramatic in Hollywood history, and we'll be right here keeping you updated every step of the way. No fluff, just facts and the real celeb tea. If you found this video helpful or learned something new, don't forget to smash that like button.